For months, the southern front had been locked in a grinding stalemate, with both sides suffering heavy losses and neither able to gain a decisive advantage. The landscape was scarred by endless trenches, shattered villages, and the constant thunder of artillery. Russian forces, determined to break through, inched forward at great cost for weeks. Every meter gained was paid for in blood and burned-out vehicles, as Ukrainian defenders stubbornly held their ground. Then, almost overnight, the momentum shifted. In a matter of days, Ukrainian forces launched a swift and daring counteroffensive, catching Russian units off guard and forcing a chaotic retreat across the front. This was no minor skirmish. It was a decisive, well-coordinated operation that showcased Ukraine's rapidly evolving military prowess and adaptability on the battlefield. Russian units, once confidently advancing toward Dnipropetrovsk, suddenly found themselves outmaneuvered, surrounded, and cut off from their supply lines. Ukrainian troops intercepted convoys and blocked escape routes, tightening the noose. In less than a week, 60 days of hard-fought Russian gains evaporated. Tanks, weapons, and supplies were abandoned in the rush to escape, leaving behind a trail of destruction and defeat. The stunning reversal was a testament to meticulous Ukrainian planning, precise intelligence gathering, and flawless execution on the ground. Every move was calculated, every strike coordinated. Russian morale plummeted as soldiers abandoned not just their positions, but also their uniforms and equipment, fleeing in disarray. The psychological blow was as severe as the material losses. For Ukraine, this victory was more than just a tactical success, it was validation. They had proven to themselves and the world that they could not only defend their homeland, but also launch bold counterattacks that reshaped the battlefield. The news electrified Ukraine and its allies, shattering the myth of a static, unwinnable war. Across the country, hope surged as people celebrated in the streets and watched the breakthrough unfold on their screens. This operation was a masterclass in modern warfare, exposing deep Russian vulnerabilities in logistics, command, and morale. Ukrainian supply lines moved efficiently, while Russian support collapsed in confusion. For Russia, the loss was more than just territory. It was a devastating blow to their initiative, their prestige, and the myth of their invincibility. The southern front would never be the same again. The dramatic reversal unfolded in the Alexandrivka and Huliaipol sector near Zaporizhzhia, a gateway to central Ukraine. This region, marked by rolling fields and scattered villages, had become a focal point in the ongoing struggle for control. For weeks, the world watched as the front lines shifted, but few anticipated the scale and speed of what was about to happen. Russian commanders had poured resources into this area, hoping for a breakthrough. Convoys of tanks and armored vehicles rumbled through the countryside, determined to punch a hole in Ukraine's defenses and open a path deeper into the heart of the country. Instead, Ukraine's response turned their offensive into a desperate retreat. Ukrainian units, well-prepared and highly motivated, launched a series of coordinated counterattacks that caught Russian forces off guard and sent shockwaves through their ranks. In just 7 days, Ukrainian forces liberated over 10 settlements, reclaiming territory that took Russia 2 months to capture. Each village retaken was a symbol of resilience and a blow to Russian morale, as Ukrainian flags replaced the occupiers' banners. The operation erased 60 days of Russian gains, highlighting Ukraine's capacity for rapid, decisive action. Animated maps and satellite images revealed the scale of the advance, as blue lines surged forward across the landscape. Each liberated village had been a fortified Russian outpost. Dismantling them shattered the enemy's defensive network. Ukrainian troops moved swiftly, clearing trenches, bunkers, and supply depots, often finding abandoned equipment and hastily discarded uniforms. The speed of Ukraine's advance left Russian forces unable to regroup, forcing a chaotic withdrawal. Scenes of abandoned vehicles and fleeing soldiers underscored the disarray within Russian ranks. As command structures broke down under pressure, this blitz demonstrated Ukraine's ability to seize the initiative and exploit Russian weaknesses. Paratroopers and mechanized units worked in tandem, pushing forward with precision and determination, refusing to let the enemy recover. The victory blunted Russia's offensive toward Dnipropetrovsk and secured a vital defensive flank. By holding these crossroads, Ukraine not only protected its own territory, but also threatened Russian supply lines, shifting the momentum of the campaign. It sent a clear message: Ukraine's will to fight and its military sophistication are only growing. The world took notice, as the defenders of Ukraine proved once again that determination, strategy, and unity can turn the tide. even against a larger foe. This victory was the result of seamless collaboration between elite Ukrainian regiments, each bringing their own unique strengths and expertise to the battlefield. The operation was not just a display of raw power, but a testament to the careful planning and coordination that defined every phase of the campaign. The 225th Separate Assault Regiment led direct combat and clearing operations, neutralizing resistance and securing liberated areas. Their expertise in urban warfare allowed them to move swiftly through contested neighborhoods, ensuring that civilians were protected and infrastructure was preserved wherever possible. Their professionalism included strict adherence to international law, treating prisoners humanely and encouraging further surrenders. This approach not only upheld Ukraine's values, but also sent a powerful message to enemy combatants, often leading to more surrenders and less bloodshed. Working alongside them, the 475th Independent Assault Regiment used advanced drones to gather real-time intelligence and breach Russian electronic defenses. These drone teams operated around the clock, providing commanders with up-to-the-minute information on enemy movements and fortifications. This intelligence allowed pinpoint artillery strikes and guided assault groups to weak points in Russian lines. By integrating drone surveillance with artillery coordination, Ukrainian forces could strike with precision, minimizing collateral damage and maximizing the effectiveness of every round fired. Drones shaped the battlefield before ground troops advanced, minimizing Ukrainian casualties. The ability to scout ahead and identify threats in real time gave Ukrainian soldiers a decisive edge, allowing them to avoid ambushes and adapt quickly to changing conditions. The synergy between regiments was the cornerstone of success, allowing bypass of strongholds and maximizing impact. Units communicated seamlessly, supporting each other's advances and exploiting every opportunity to outmaneuver the enemy. This teamwork exemplified how high-tech surveillance and disciplined infantry can be woven into a far more effective force. The combination of cutting-edge technology and well-trained soldiers created a force that was agile, adaptive, and relentless in pursuit of its objectives. The Zaporizhzhia victory was a direct result of this military symphony. Every regiment, every soldier, and every piece of equipment played a vital role in achieving this historic breakthrough. It proved that Ukraine's modernized approach can outmatch a larger, less agile adversary, demonstrating to the world that innovation, discipline, and unity can overcome even the most daunting odds. The Zaporizhzhia counteroffensive success hinged on flawless integration of drones, infantry, and assault groups. UAV pilots provided real-time intelligence mapping enemy defenses and guiding ground troops with precision. This allowed assault groups to avoid kill zones and exploit Russian blind spots, saving lives and accelerating the advance. As the assault began, drones shifted to direct support, striking vehicles, suppressing enemy fire, and sowing chaos. Infantry advanced under this protective umbrella, facing a disorganized enemy. Assault groups then moved in to secure objectives with speed and efficiency. This model, technology scouting and softening target soldiers exploiting the advantage, proved devastatingly effective. A key to Ukraine's counteroffensive was systematically targeting Russian logistics and supply lines. Before the ground assault, Ukrainian artillery and drones severed supply routes, turning convoys into fiery wrecks. Each destroyed truck meant frontline Russian units lacked ammunition, fuel, or food. Ukrainian forces also targeted tanks and artillery pulled back for resupply, degrading Russian combat capability. This relentless pressure created shortages and crippled Russia's ability to sustain defense. As the counteroffensive began, Russian units were low on supplies and unable to maneuver or hold positions. The battle was half won before the first trench was stormed. Strategic foresight in targeting logistics set the stage for Ukraine's rapid victory. The rapid advance was enabled by elite airborne brigades like the 82nd and 95th, bringing crucial mobility. Their mission bypassed strongholds, strike deep into Russian rear areas, and cause systemic collapse. Once a breach opened, these units fanned out, hitting command posts and logistics hubs, overwhelming Russian responses. Deep maneuvers created multi-front crises, forcing panicked retreats and shattering Russian morale. The psychological impact was immense. Russian troops, realizing Ukrainians were behind their lines, often fled without a fight. Airborne brigades turned a breakthrough into a full operational victory. Their speed and adaptability were key to forcing Russia's hasty retreat from Zaporizhzhia. As Russian forces retreated, their propaganda machine spun defeat as a planned regrouping. State media downplayed Ukraine's advance, claiming minor incursions and symbolic victories. Flag-planting stunts and staged photos were amplified, but quickly debunked by geolocated evidence of Ukraine's gains. The contrast was stark. Russian TV celebrated empty fields, while Ukraine showed columns of destroyed Russian armor and liberated towns. The information space became a battlefield, but facts on the ground were undeniable. The loss of 10 settlements and a 10-kilometer retreat could not be spun away. For soldiers and observers alike, it was clear this was a rout, not a regrouping. The liberation of over 10 settlements fundamentally shifted the balance of power in the south. Ukrainian positions now threaten key Russian logistics hubs like the railway at Paloi, with artillery and missiles. Russia must now risk supply shipments or reroute, complicating their logistics and weakening their front. With supply lines under threat, Russian units are forced to ration and focus on survival, not offense. Ukraine has seized the initiative, reversing months of Russian gains and setting conditions for future advances. In just 1 week, the operational landscape was reshaped, putting Russia on the defensive. With the offensive phase over, Ukraine faces the challenge of stabilizing liberated territories. Demining teams clear deadly traps left by retreating Russians, ensuring safety for returning civilians. Authorities restore governance, repair infrastructure, and provide aid to those who endured occupation. The sight of Ukrainian flags and soldiers brings relief and hope to war-weary communities. For the military, this victory boosts morale and proves that sacrifice leads to real gains. For the nation, it's a psychological lift, proof that resilience and ingenuity can turn the tide. The Zaporizhzhia victory is a foundation for future successes, signaling that momentum is shifting in Ukraine's favor.